Monty in Indiana. Welcome to Bobby Likis Car Clinic. Glad to have you on the air.
Thank you, Bobby. See, I've got a 1994 Ford Tempo.
Okay.
And on the piston covers, I'm not sure what it is. It's a little small round plastic device with a small hose that runs to the air filter compartment.
Sure. That's a valve cover. That's a cam cover. In your case, it covers the top of the engine, and that hose that you see is one of two that one feeds clean air from the air filter. That's filtered air, because you can't put dirty air directly into the engine. That would be like pouring sand into the motor. So with the PCV valve draws the vapors from the crankcase. It has to have some air to replace those vapors, and the engine is fed clean air from the filter. So the flow is air through the filter housing, through the filter air filter unit itself, then into the top of the engine, then through the engine, and then to the intake manifold, where it draws those vapors and burns those vapors and causes what we in the industry know to be black lung disease. And that's why you have to have air fuel induction systems. But that is the flow of the air. Your question of me.
Okay. My problem is, though, and it goes to the air filter compartment, and then there's a little thing with a small filter, like it's made of sponge or something.
Yes, it's a little device that is it's a filter, exactly as I was saying. So, and Ford did this so that they could place that hose in a more convenient area, and at that time they added, in other words, rather than flowing the air that comes from the outside ambient air through the filter media itself, the air filter, they couldn't position that hose correctly, so they drilled a hole in the side of the can, and rather than draw air through the filter, as I just stated, they're drawing air through the hose, but the hose has a little small mini filter attached, which should be replaced during tune-ups, and tune-ups should be, in your car, every couple of years. Your question of me.
My problem is that little sponge filter, and even on the bottom of the air filter compartment,
right,
I'm getting oil in there, and it's saturating that sponge, and it's getting the it's getting oil on the bottom of the air filter, and I don't know why I'm getting so much oil in there.
You know that your engine compresses air, mixes fuel, and the spark plug fires, and that pressure drives the pistons down, which turns the wheels. You know that, correct?
Yeah, correct.
Some of that pressure is blowing by, it's called blow-by, blowing by the rings. Some always blows by the rings, but in your vehicle, more than normal pressure is blowing by the rings, and that's pressurizing the crankcase. And the PCV system that is supposed to draw those vapors and burn those vapors is restricted just by its design, and you have more pressure than that hose can draw. Therefore, its only other possible route is to go the other way, which is the backward direction, and it's not flowing air in from the air filter. Your engine is blowing pressure out of the engine into the air filter, and that's caused by blow-by, or that's in a worn engine, or, and this could be possible, and pay close attention, you could have not a bad PCV. That would be too simple. You could simply have a very subtle blockage of the vacuum where the PCV hose attaches to the intake manifold. So here's your direction. With the engine running, and you can go to a local shop and they can do this for you. It's so simple. With the engine idling, you would want to remove the hose, not the one that you're talking about, but the other hose that feeds the PCV system. Remove the hose not from the PCV valve, but from the intake manifold where it gets its vacuum to start with. And I'll bet you, and this is if you have a healthy engine, I'll bet you're not going to have this vacuum from the vacuum source, because that port in the intake manifold is stopped up with carbon and yuck. And you simply with the engine running, you can't use a chemical. You can, but that's what we use to clean out a PCV or an EGR source. But you may have to use a screwdriver or a little bit of cleaning agent. And what you want to make sure is that that hose, that supply of vacuum is available to make that system operate. And that's more information than I ever intended to give you, but that will give you the first direction and step to correct the problem with your tempo. Thanks for calling from Indiana.